this is Aromie here. Welcome back to our life, Baxter DLC, step 4. Here we are, talking about, the wedding planning stuff. Baxter himself paused there, considering. A picture was beginning to form in his mind. Are there any traditions or extra touches you'd like to include in either the ceremony or reception? I don't know. 5 minutes in and Scott was already sighing. He pressed his glasses higher in his face. If you couldn't tell, we haven't gone far enough to consider anything extra. We're short on major parts still. The office chair creaked as Baxter rested against it. The gesture was disarming, physically pulling back from the non-stop questioning.
Bravo!
First, let me say, what you've already taken care of is commendable. My job is going to be far easier. June and Scott were absolutely fluttered. Someone in Baxter's position had good things to say about the situation. With how much time they've put into their big day, getting some positive feedback must have been a real treat. They smiled shyly to one another. I'd like you to get me the contact info for the venue and caterer when you can. I'll just put it in the group chat. Excellent. He got this meeting off in the right foot. Intentionally so. Baxter provided to make his next move.
It's doable.
Second, there should be space to finish multiple tasks with the time we have and the amount of people who can assist. So let's prioritize and delegate. Desserts and decorations are foremost. Then only if there's room would anything else be done. Excuse me. Possibly selecting new clothing for the occasion. Is that what I'm hearing? Yes. Sure. Throughout the extended interview, you, Terry, and Miranda had been silent. Scott and Jude might very well have forgotten you were in the room. At that point, your job was to listen. You'd only act once the decisions were ready to put into action. But watching Baxter work as a professional planner was a surreal experience. He seriously did look like he knew what he was doing. He was asking the right questions, reading the room. Baxter's skills had grown considerably since helping with Miranda's birthday party. We've already got stuff we're working on at our place. We're making guest favors. No clue where we'd get a cake.
It's true.
Neither. I tried, but how do I know if they're any good at it? Who orders a wedding cake before their wedding? Being able to make other desserts doesn't mean you can do that decently. If you're willing to take recommendations, I'm acquainted with a baker, Xavier. Comes highly recommended by my previous clients, and I can't vouch for them personally. Did you get your wedding cake from them? What a question. Imagine he was married. Scott meant it with complete sincerity. He has no ring. Oh, so?
No.
I'm unmarried at the moment, entirely single in fact, but I would hire them for my own if I had the occasion. I did have the occasion. Did you subtly put the entirely single in fact aloud for the class to hear? Didn't know what the perception was of unwed wedding planners. Baxter wasn't flustered by the circumstances regardless. He wasn't seeing anyone. He chuckled amiably. It smoothed him well and bumped right over. Scott hadn't even registered the pitfall that was barely avoided. He was getting excited. Things are finally coming along. Alright, we'll go there. What are we gonna get? We can discuss it. Yeah, how long is it gonna take? Can we order today? The pressure Baxter intentionally released was layered on extra thick with Jude's cut-to-the-finish take on the bakery. That is possible, since time is of the essence. You wouldn't be able to do a tasting session. That means you have to trust the flavors will be to your liking.
In that case...
Getting common or familiar options would be my suggestion, but you can certainly try something more unique if your heart is set on it. Are there any allergies we need to consider?
That's whatever.
No, that's whatever. Get chocolate or some vanilla. In this case, so a black and white cake. In this case, Baxter didn't accept the first answer he received. Baxter's keen eyes went to Jude's other half for a second option. Scott gulped. Oops, I did not mean to do that.
I don't know.
What else to pick off the top of my head? We can think a little longer. Baxter kept his tone approachable, harmless. He was having to do double as a therapist, gently coaxing clients to speak their mind. I really don't know. We should get chocolate and vanilla. Everybody will like that. That's fine. It's a classic, chocolate and vanilla. The note was taken down. Baxter pressed firmly into the paper at one point, a period.
What do you think?
Do you have any design notes? Normally they'd be done with the baker, but again, limited schedule. I imagine you don't want to sit down and get acquainted with someone new. We can have the details prepared ahead of time to expedite the process. What designing does the cake need? That depends on you. Cakes can come in about any style you can imagine, and many more styles you never think of on your own. Scott almost leapt from his seat over that topic. Maybe he would have if he wasn't so pressed in on all sides.
It's true.
I saw a lot of pictures when looking up bakeries. They can be so cool. People make these 3D card cakes into shapes of things. It doesn't look like a cake at all. There are a few opportunities in life you could justify spending a lot of money on an incredible cake. The prospect of that time being now had Scott more excited about the planning than anything else so far. You can even get a cake that's a car. Seriously, a car! With working headlights and everything. Jude loves his cars more than me some days. Only a few weeks out of the year. You get me most of the time. They shared a laugh. The meeting was becoming friendly, more fun. The two could enjoy the process past all the stress of it. Except...
Not happening.
But building a cake car isn't gonna work. No one could do it. Unfortunately, Drew was correct on that count. Baxter's recommended baker had to be good, however. Humans could only do so much. A custom confectioning vehicle in a matter of days with no prior notice was asking for there to be no cake at all. In fact, it made baking cupcakes the night before an event look like a piece of cake. Perhaps a compromise is in order. For example, a typical tiered cake with some model decorations. Who's gonna notice? Baxter lowered his pen. The positive momentum had been lost. I think Drew's a little downer. This does not need to be wrapped up under a stressful timeline. However, there is room to still have what you actually want. I want a cake that you can eat. I want that too. It doesn't need a lot of fancy stuff. We're not fancy people.
Very well.
I see. The future Adams might not have been particularly prissy, but as a bona fide fancy man himself, Baxter was personally insulted by the repeated dismissiveness of all the formalities. At least he would have been 5 years ago. He had no idea what he was thinking now. His expression was inscrutable. It was only clear that he was continuing to pay close attention. Well, I won't pressure you to do more than you'd like, but I think we should at least pick a couple words to denote the overall theme. Traditional, vintage, modern, and such. Finished or not ugly. Bro, you're not helping. He wants a theme. He asked about this before with Terry. And she at the time didn't give a proper answer either. Jude wouldn't bite no matter how appetizing the treat. Baxter reevaluated his approach. Though it should go without saying with this baker, if it doesn't matter in particular to you, then that isn't a problem. Scott, do you have a preference? I'd want something that seems modern. Old-fashioned cakes are not my style. Or in less diplomatic terms, the sight of frou-frou buttercream piping might have made him break out in hives, despite the lack of allergies. Absolutely, that's the approach. What's the actual presentation? Simplistic, elegant, floral, beachy?
Would that be alright?
Could it be simple and elegant? Yeah, of course. That's easy, right? Scott thoughtfully scratched a stubble along his jaw as his gaze wandered. That combination of descriptors was one of those possibilities he couldn't even imagine, apparently.
Certainly.
Then that, right? He glanced to Jude instinctively. As dismissive as Jude had been about the cake, Scott remained hopeful his partner would feel positive about it. Perfect, Scott. I mean, there's always that one couple. It's always the one couple that knows what they want in a wedding and the one that's just happy to have whatever their partner wants. Which is this case. Jude doesn't care, but as long as Scott's happy, he's fine. Jude meant it. Even if it wasn't what Scott had wanted, it was enough. I'm glad you think so. I mean, again, Jude only cares if his fiance is happy, he's happy. You know? It's like the quote, happy wife, happy life, except in this stance, happy hubby, happy life. In that case, since you're thinking of keeping it simple and prioritizing flexibility, I could visit the bakery for you to make the request. You have other obligations to take care of, I imagine. I can confirm the budget through text when I get a quote. Do you know the amount of tiers you'd want? You tell us. You've seen how big our party is.
All right.
I can certainly give my take. For a wedding of your size, I would suggest 3 tiers at least.
Done. Guess so.
That's good. We're going to have a wedding cake. Compared to how enthusiastic Scott started at the outset of the topic, the conclusion was that a cake was like a cake that didn't get baking powder mixed in the batter. Flat. What? Or whatever. Still, it seemed any cake would do. Literally and metaphorically, Jude didn't care and Scott wouldn't push it. Baxter's planning abilities had been tested there, and the only one who came out fully satisfied was Jude.
I can do that.
I believe I know everything I need at the moment. I can put in that order for you today. Thank you for so much help. Wait, thank you for some... Okay, whatever. But somebody should go with you to be sure. I can do it. Would the rest of you be good making favors? Probably. Amazingly, the single word response was said. With a shrug, didn't fill Scott with confidence.
I'm not sure.
Maybe someone else should go to the bakery? Jude? He can handle it. We got a planner so he can do his thing and we can do our things. Jude is so... The friction of disagreement didn't frazzle Mr. Ward. He calmly interjected with a suggestion. If the two of you are the most informed about the guest favors, then someone who doesn't know that process as well could attend the bakery with me. Jude is right, you know. You're lucky to have others here to assist, and it isn't me alone. We can share the responsibilities. Randy and Terry have been helping out. Chico just got here. We had to show her how to do it. Scott grabbed his fiance's shoulder as he piggybacked on where Jude was going. They'd been redirected back to the same page.
Yes.
Or she could be the one to go to the bakery. Fuck. Your name coming up for the assignment didn't get the planner to acknowledge you in any way. He racked it as distantly as they said their random cousin Tom Gregg could go. Baxter wasn't intending to mess around with the planning. You could understand that. Do you mind me, Chico? No. Sure, we can go to bakery. Nice, I get the fun part. If that's what's best, I'll do what you need. Leave it to me. Okay, I mean, I got the easy. I got the fun part. Easy. Easy. I don't have to do anything. Just be there. Thanks. Thank you.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Michiko do a good job getting the desserts. Oh, we could talk about cakes. And cupcakes again, Baxter. Not like you'll talk to me, though. It's fine. It's whatever. Terry nodded at the wisdom in the plan. It was a unanimous decision. Baxter grinned past you in an entirely artificial way. It's settled. A few more minor details were laid out before the ending of the meeting was officially called. You had to exit the building in one group and then split off in the parking lot. The main team of Scott, Jude, Miranda, and Terry was going to spend the entire afternoon in guest favors while your branch had the task of arranging a cake. Baxter directed the way to go and separated from the crowd first. You had to give fast farewells before catching up with your partner for the operation. Baxter led you to the back of the lot and approached what you assumed was his car. Somehow, as you got closer to it, you could have guessed it was Baxter's. It was sparkling white. Not a single scratch, scuff, or speck of dirt. Once the door was opened, the interior, however, was floor-to-ceiling black. Black and white. Another coincidence, perhaps. Or were there too many of those at this point for it to be abstinence? Baxter eased the seatbelt across his chest and addressed his passenger. You. It was strange. He'd been so committed to maintaining a defined distance. When it was no longer an option, he didn't touch on the change. Instead, he behaved as if he was always an employee in your service.
So,
Welcome to my vehicle. Please change the temperature and air direction to your liking. The radio works. I'll leave it off, but of course you can put on some music if you want. This is so weird. It's like strangers to lovers to strangers again. They don't like this. Baxter's face was kept straight ahead, eyes towards the road, and he hadn't even started driving yet. How professional. You know, I should just take the back seat. I shouldn't even sit beside him as passenger princess, you know? You could watch him as much as you wanted. Right up close, and you did. The beauty mark on his neck was close enough to touch. That was him, Baxter Ward. It was you and Baxter, sitting alone in a car, after 5 years and a promise that you'd never see each other again. And he wasn't going to acknowledge even a hint of that on his own. You were certain of it. Am I... Can we talk? Fuck no, we can't. This is professional time. Should we lighten the mood up? Fuck, I don't feel like... Personally, me, I'd be quiet. I don't know, I don't think I would know how to react. Because it's, like, weird. But would I lighten up the mood? Let's attempt. Let's not be awkward here. I don't think I can be awkward. It would feel too suffocating. I'm allowed to speak to the driver. Is that off limits? You teased. It depends on what you would like to discuss.
I apologize.
I can endeavor to help with any part of the planning, but unfortunately my base of knowledge is limited to specific areas. Well, that was a pleasant way to outright reject talking about anything actually important. I don't think this is a question. You know what? How long have you been a wedding planner? His grip loosened on the wheel. A softball question was the right call. About 2 years. There's still much to learn. Attempted to add follow-ups or kickstart other conversations. He blunted each one, answering as what the fuck is his word? What the fuck? I can't even pronounce it. It's not succinctly. I'm wanting to read it as succulent, but I know that's not it. Whatever that is, as possible. It couldn't be described as a cheerful drive, but the time passed in an acceptably uneventful fashion. And soon Baxter was pulling into a parking spot somewhere in the heart of Prism's Vista City. You've arrived. A pastel pink sign plastered across the top of one of the buildings read, Zake Bakery, in big, bold letters. Xavier, or so is it? Ake Bakery? I don't know. A small cursive underneath said, Cake designs by Xavier. It is Xavier, right? I don't know at this point. Baxter approached without wasting a second. A tinkling bell jingled as Baxter opened the door. He held it out for you. Being in a rush didn't mean being impolite, apparently. A man's still a gentleman. But anyway, this is where we're gonna stop for today's episode. Oh, I don't know about this route. I'm excited to play, but I'm also heartbroken still because I need closure, and he's not giving me the closure because we're strangers again, and it's weird. But anyway, thank you guys for watching today's episode. Stay beautiful, and I'll see you guys in the next one.